with a cloud. All right, welcome. It's day 2 of the Strategic Corporate to Coach Transition Plan Workshop. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to have you guys back here today. We are covering how to know when the timing is right to take the leap out of corporate, right? That's what a lot of people are wondering. How do I know when the timing is right? And specifically, I want to talk about what to get done first. There are certain things you want to get done before you take the leap. So we're going to talk through all of that today. Building a strategic corporate to coach transition plan is truly the first step that you must take in order to replace your corporate income by repackaging your genius into a coaching business. As you're joining tonight, drop into the chat. Let us give us some feedback in the comments on if you enjoyed last night's session. I would love to hear what was the most valuable part for you from last night's session, or what was your biggest takeaway from last night's session. So drop that into the chat. And let's see here. All right, I'm just scrolling. Oh, that's interesting. I see the chat is kind of continued from yesterday. That's interesting. All these updates to Zoom. Tanya says the 5 C's. Good. We'll be talking about that a little bit more and more. So we'll dive into that more and more. Hi, Janet. Welcome. Doris says her biggest takeaway was the bridge job. Backup plan options. Nothing wrong with the good bridge job. Yuval, love the professionals we should partner with. Absolutely. Got to build that board of directors. Don't operate in a bubble. Let's see here. Amy, looking at my 401k. I don't have one, but I do have retirement savings. Great. Yeah. And again, just because you're an entrepreneur, it's not like all that goes away. You want to continue to have some kind of an IRA. Leah says, last night was so valuable. The 12 tasks to mitigate risk. Amazing, Leah. Christy, love this session. Professional partners, bridge job expenses. Great. And Deborah, coaching the most profitable business model. Love it. All right, y'all, and continue to keep it coming. Let us know what was your biggest takeaway from yesterday. My name is Betty Kempa, founder of the Corporate to Six-Figure Coach Academy, business coach for coaches, marketing strategist, LinkedIn expert, IPEC graduate. Again, I know we have a couple new watchers here today, either in the Facebook group or the Zoom room. So again, feel free to share if you were certified or if you're getting certified. Where that is. Always good to see who's gone where, so we can make some connections here. And I'm always curious, where are my fellow IPECians? I'm a Forbes Coaches Council member. I was ranked one of the top business coaches in Tampa by Influence Digest, and I help corporate renegades ditch the 9-to-5 by repackaging their genius into a 6-figure coaching business. So tonight, as always, I want you to grab your workbook. Grab your workbook, this bad boy right here. Wave it around like you just don't care. If you're a print out kind of a person like I am, grab your workbook. If you've got the digital copy, get your digital copy on the screen next to your Zoom. Have it on hand, be ready to take notes, copious notes directly into your workbook throughout the training. This is your 6-figure resource. This is it. This is how we get started. If any of you need help accessing the workbook, as a reminder, I'm going to put it in the chat in the Zoom room here. Tabitha dropped into the chat a PDF. I would also advise you to text the word strategy to 1-813-212-7127. And the reason for that, A, you get the workbook, but B, that way we're able to send you a text alert with the Zoom link when we get started. So you have that Zoom link. Brandon, what a bummer. I'm sorry you're stuck in traffic. But thanks for joining us on the road. Hopefully your eyeballs are on the road and you're listening to me as more of like a podcast kind of a thing. But you can, partner with your bootcamp concierge. They can get you the replay. And, any answers you need for the workbook, you can partner with them after this and get all the answers you need. Leah picked up your printed copy this morning. You are A+, golden star. Love it, Leah. Again, just comment below if you need your workbook, although Tabitha's already dropped it into the chat. So you guys have got what you need. I am just going to check real quick on my mobile device to make sure that we are indeed streaming into the Facebook group, because I'm very excited that that is working. Let me just check here, pull up my group, and it looks like we're good to go. We've got Heather Copi, who is in the Facebook group. Lacey is looking for the Zoom link tonight as well. So Heather, if you wouldn't mind giving Lacey the Zoom link, she's posting in the Facebook group. Maybe you've already done so. She's sending you a DM. Okay, so the Facebook group is good to go. Yay, makes me happy. If you haven't already connected with your bootcamp concierge, Tabitha or Heather, Tabitha Allman and Heather Copi, they are our bootcamp, or I should say our workshop concierge. And that's the magic of this workshop, that you are partnering with your workshop concierge. If you have questions, if you need help, even if you need extra training, they're getting people additional training. So do make sure you connect. I showed you guys yesterday, potentially, if you haven't heard from your workshop concierge contact, it could be stuck. By the way, put into the chat, if you haven't heard from your concierge contact, just put into the chat, workshop contact. Put that into the chat. Put that into the chat. Workshop contact. Put that into the chat. Workshop contact. And we can make sure that we're partnering you with your workshop contact. One other thing, Tabitha or Heather, if you guys could do me a favor, I didn't check on this yet, but in the Facebook group, Tabitha, I think you usually do this, but just want to make sure you tagged everyone on the Zoom link. Oh, I don't see so. So I'm just gonna do a tag real quick on the Zoom link too, Tabitha, so we have everybody joining us that way as well. Okay, great. All right, so what else do I want to tell you real quick before we hit the ground running? If you need a workbook, download it from the chat. If you haven't connected to your workshop concierge, put that into the chat. Say, I need a workshop contact. Where's my workshop contact? And then we can make sure that your workshop contact meets up with you. What else here? At some point during tonight's session, I'm excited to do this. Just little fun things to keep it lively. At some point during tonight's session, I'm going to be announcing the winner of our first drawing for a gift card. So I'm going to be announcing the winner for our first drawing for a gift card tonight during our session. So you'll want to stay till the end. You have to be on live to get the gift card. So there's two ways to get to be eligible for the daily gift card drawings. You have to post in the homework thread that goes live after each session in the Facebook group. And then you have to be here for the sessions and the prize announcements. You got to be here live. I want to remind you guys, throughout the week, I will continue to do giveaways for all kinds of fun prizes, but you have to be here live to be eligible. What else here? I'll be teaching live in this Zoom room. And now that we've figured out how to stream again to the Facebook group, every night this week, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I put on your calendar 90 minutes to be safe. I try to end it at 60 minutes. But again, it depends how much is in the chat, how much I go back and forth with you guys, how long it lasts. So I would put in a buffer just to be safe. I'm running 2 additional bonus sessions Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over the weekend. Very important for y'all to know. All the videos, all the training are coming down Sunday of this week. So November 19th, Sunday, midnight, Eastern Standard Time. So if you need to go back and revisit any of the training, etc., you need to do so before then. All right, let's jump into it. Most of you probably have heard a little bit about my story. After I got laid off from my corporate job, I remember that it felt really challenging to imagine working full-time as a coach. But I approached building my coaching business with an open mind with an open heart. I looked at it as an exciting adventure. I looked at it as an exciting adventure. I tapped into my inner drive to do whatever it took to make my dream happen, my dream of having a coaching business. And when I did that, so that's what I implanted into my brain. I will do whatever it takes to make this dream of having a full-time coaching business happen. I knew that was my calling. Anybody here feel like coaching is your calling? Yeah, absolutely. Deborah, Yuval, yeah, drop into the chat. It's coaching. You feel it, right? This isn't just some job. You know what I mean? It's your calling. So when something is your calling, yeah, Maureen, Leah, Christy, absolutely. When something's your calling, I want everybody now to, take your index fingers and just implant into your brain. I will do whatever it takes to make my dream of running a full-time coaching business happen. Period. No matter what you come across, no matter what obstacles happen, no matter what limiting beliefs may still be there in the background, right? And when I did that, everything changed for me, right? I tapped into that inner drive to do whatever it took to make it happen. After I left my corporate role for good, replaced my corporate income the first year that I was full-time as a coach. A couple years after that, I was having six-figure quarters. A year after that, I had my first six-figure month, which is so crazy because the story that I had always told myself to keep myself safe and small was to cling to that corporate job for security, right? That was the narrative that I told myself. Now with my coaching business, I'll tell you guys right now, this is my experience. Doesn't mean it's going to be everybody's experience, but I'm sharing with you my experience. Now with my coaching business, this is the most security I have ever felt because I am in complete control of my salary, my business, and my destiny. My salary, my business, and my destiny. In fact, it's because of the courage it took to go all in on my coaching business that has now allowed my significant other, Ryan, and I to build the house of our dreams that I'm now sitting in, our first ever home. And this is all on the income from the coaching business. None of this would have happened had I not gotten serious about going all in on my coaching business. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but it starts here. It starts here. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but coaches got to hear it from coaches, right? So I want to encourage you guys to release skepticism, doubt, lack of belief about what's possible, because that doesn't serve you. Now, is there a magic pill I can give you? Take this pill for a successful coaching business? No, there isn't. If I had it, I'd give it to you. There isn't one. However, when you lock in with the right framework, the right strategy, and the right support system, anything is possible. And that's what I want you to open up to. All right. So that's my TED Talk. As a reminder, on Friday, speaking of inspiration, I'm bringing in a couple different coaches. I want to do some interviews. I'm bringing in a couple coaches who I have witnessed transitioning successfully from corporate to coach, right? They made the transition successfully. One gal made over $40,000 in 4 months. She continues to go strong, so strong that she's just about at bandwidth as far as taking on new clients. Another coach who, again, left the corporate world, making consecutive 14K months, recently had a 25K month. And I'm sharing numbers like that because I want you guys to understand that it is possible. that it is possible. And I also want you guys to hear from these coaches. I'm bringing them in on Friday, kind of like a Q&A. I want you to hear from them. We'll interview them and you can ask them questions and you can hear from them and see what's possible. All right, let's do it. Let's jump in. There's a lot to cover today. Let's set our intention. Set the intention. And if you feel so encouraged, drop into the chat. Set your intention. What is your intention for this evening? Take strategic and focused action. Commit on following through until completion. You can have your corporate to coach transition plan laid out by this Sunday. Okay. And then after that, we move on to building the dream. So in the comment, Christy's going to be present. Christy's going to be present? Leah, is it realistic to have that kind of months with the right amount of work? It is realistic to have those kind of months with the right amount of work. I mean, yeah, it's a normal question. You know, it depends on the human sitting across from me. And I would say this for any niche: business coaching, relationship coaching, health coaching. You guys can probably relate to this. You can have the same program and it's in this beautiful package, and you can have a plethora of clients in front of you, right? Some clients take it and they soar. Some clients, right, if they're not open to the program, if they're not following the system, if they're not comfortable getting uncomfortable, if they're not showing up, right? So it is definitely realistic, but you got to show up and you got to do the work. You got to show up and you got to do the work. I will say this too, and I recommend all you guys do this. We are very, how do I want to put this? We are very particular with who we work with in the Corporate to Six-Figure Coach Academy. We're very particular with who we work with. We have an application. We don't just say, oh, you got the money, come on in. We usually turn at least one person down per workshop. Not because we're trying to be mean or anything like that, but we are so, our clients' results are so important to us that if we don't see that there's an energetic fit and we just see that it's not going to work with that person, the application is, we're going to refer them to somebody else. And I would recommend all of you guys do that. You don't want to work with a client that you think, they're probably not going to get the results that, we see our other clients get. So it's a good question. Well, let's dive in. Jennifer's going to stay focused on all the ways that can be successful and how to get there. Yes. Staying focused on all the ways. Maureen says, here for it. Absolutely. And believe that what I need will be provided. Absolutely. Got to be open to it, right? It's part keeping that open mind and it's part doing the work. Absolutely. All right, guys, let's rev it up in the chat. Give me a let's do this in the comments below. If you're ready to dive in, into tonight's content and take one step forward, let's do this. Leah, Edita, Maureen, Lacey, Yuval. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, Leah. Yeah, Leah, you bring up a good point. You hear people say you can make 7 figures, but the likelihood is slim to none, even when they work their butt off. Yeah, I'm a realist. I'm not going to tell any of you guys that, your first year of coaching, 7 figures. No, right? It's a gradual, you're going to get there little by little. And here's the other thing I would say too, Leah. And this is any niche, not just business coaching. Anybody who makes a guarantee, you're going to make this amount, run the other direction. You can't make guarantees. There's too many variables, right? So there's no guarantee to anything. The most you can look for are what kind of results has that coach gotten other clients, and what kind of a process and approach does that coach use, right? That's the most you can look for. But going from 0 to 7 figures overnight, no. 7 figures is going to take years and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Is it possible? Yes, right? It's possible. There are coaches making 7 figures, but those coaches are working above and beyond. And what's the quote? When you're willing to do what others aren't, you're able to achieve what others do not. So when you see people with these outstanding results, and that's why I'm bringing in some of these coaches on Friday, so you guys can kind of do a Q&A with them to see what did they do? What did they do to achieve those results? Because it takes work. There's no magic pill. It does take work. Yeah, Maureen, slow and steady wins the race. Absolutely. Slow and steady wins the race. And consistency. If you guys ever hear people say show up, you got to show up. You have to show up, whether that's on social media or being a thought expert. I remember my first year of coaching, I blogged once a week and I never missed a week. I never missed a week. I showed up even when I thought no one was reading it. Even when I was like, is anybody out there reading this? And I didn't, it was like quiet at first, but I kept showing up and I kept showing up and then I went to video, right? And then if something didn't work, I tweaked it. So I was relentless. That's why I say in the beginning, I will do whatever it takes to make my dream of building my coaching business come true, right? That's why that mindset piece is so important. All right, y'all, let's dive in. How to know when the timing is right to take the leap out of corporate. Get this done first. So here we go into the workbook. If you need the workbook, drop workbook into the chat. Just a quick reminder on what we talked about yesterday. We talked about the 12-step checklist to mitigate risk. We talked about budgeting tools. We talked about how to transition your 401k to an IRA. We talked about types of insurance to consider. And today we'll be talking about liability insurance as well. We didn't cover that yesterday. We talked about the 5 professionals who need to be on your business board of directors during your transition. We talked about the 5 C's of building a 6-figure coaching business. And we talked about 5 bridge job backup plan options. So if you need the replay from yesterday, please drop replay into the comments so that your bootcamp concierge contact can get with you and get you a link to that replay so that you can catch all that we talked about yesterday. Now, we're going to turn to page 4 of your workbook today. Page 4 of your workbook. Just as a reminder, there's quite a list of questions, a list of 6 questions. If you got these questions done, well done. Well done if you got these questions done. If not, continue to work on these and finish these by the end of the week. Finish these by the end of the week. So keep working on these questions. All right, y'all. We're going to move to page 5 of the workbook and let's hit the ground running. I'm wasting no time. We're hitting the ground running. First question in the workbook: when should you start working on your coaching business? When should you start working on building your coaching business? Drop it into the chat. Let's play a little game. What do you guys think? When should you start? Ooh, Yuval, he's got it. Deborah. You know what? Like I said yesterday, yes, Leah. Yeah. You guys got this. See, I can give the mic to any of you guys. You could run this right now. I love it. Yeah, it's now. It's now. You should be working on your building your coaching business now. If you're still in your 9-to-5, if you're still in your corporate job, you should be working on it now before you take the leap. Why do I say this? Well, like I said, I got laid off. My time was like cut in half. So if you're still in your job, I oftentimes, people will say, oh, I'm not ready to quit my corporate job yet. I'm like, good. Let's work on the business. Let's verify that you can make enough in the business that you need to make before you take the leap, right? So I will tell you right now, most of my clients, not all, most of my clients come to me while they're still in their corporate job. And we create a CEO schedule for them. That's one of the things I teach my clients is how to create a CEO schedule so that they can put aside enough time during the week to work on their coaching business while they're still at their demanding corporate job. And I know it feels like a lot. It's not a 40-hour week, is it? Right? And some of you have kids, and some of you have other, you're going to the gym, right? So we work with your schedule, right? We work with your schedule. You should be working on your coaching business now. Don't wait until you take the leap. I don't want you to take the leap and then you're like, where do I start? Your business in the perfect world, and I know it's not the perfect world, but in the perfect world, we validate your business, you're making the money before you say sayonara to your corporate job. Okay, great job. What is the most risky thing? And so write that down in your workbook, by the way. Write that down. First question in your workbook. Okay, here's the next question. And we could play the game again. The question in your workbook is, what is the most risky thing you could do when starting your coaching business? Remember, this is all about mitigating risk. What is the most risky thing you could do when starting your coaching business? So we have some good answers here. Keep them coming. The most risky thing, Yuval, not having a business strategy. Amen. Not having a plan. Christy, yep, absolutely. Adita, quit now. Risky. Procrastinate. Absolutely, Janet. And by the way, procrastination, all of us, well, maybe not all of us, but, even I, sometimes get the procrastination bug. And usually, who procrastinates is the perfectionist, because they're thinking, well, if I can't do it perfect, I'm going to wait. Right. And so that's why I say embrace imperfect action. Good, Janet. Leah, do nothing. Absolutely. Deborah, already done it. Lacey, not commit. Amen. Bernadette, not having savings. Yeah. So I would agree with everything you guys shared there. Here are the two that I had in my brain. And then I want you to, write down in your workbook, page 5. And I would say everything you're sharing is correct. Here are the two that came to my brain. One, and some of these you guys shared. Wait to start working on your coaching business until after you leave your corporate job. 1. 2, wait to hire a business coach after you leave your corporate job. Right? So there are many ways that we can make risky endeavors. But to me, when I think back to my story, what I went through, my clients, those are the two riskiest. We talked about waiting to work on your coaching business after you leave your corporate job because it takes time to build a business and to validate that you have a financially successful business. You don't want to do that from scratch with no job. I don't want any of you to ever feel like if I don't make a sale this month, I can't pay my mortgage. No, nobody should be under that kind of pressure. Waiting to hire a business coach until after you leave your corporate job. Here's what I see happen. And sometimes this does happen. A client will come to me and they say, oh yeah, I've been working on my business for months. And look, I have this website and this is what I did so far. I'm posting on social media. And as a marketing, messaging, and business expert, I'm looking at what they did and they're saying, I don't know why I don't see results. I don't know why I'm not seeing clients, but I can see, right? Because that's what I do. I can see from a 30,000 foot view. And then what ends up happening is we have to take all this extra time. And then usually they have to spend extra money while we undo a lot of the work that was done, right? So you want to hire an expert as early on as possible so that you don't have to go back and undo all the work you did. And so that you don't have to spend money. Like say if some of my clients come to me with a website and the website is just the layout is wrong and the copy is wrong and they don't have the niche and the messaging is off and the branding is off. And then it ends up costing them more money in the long run. So the earlier you can partner with an expert who can hold your hand and walk you through the process, give you the templates, the easier and less risky it's going to be when you partner with someone who's already done the thing. The next question in your workbook, page 5, says savings, nest egg. The question is this: how much monthly savings? And this is a, there's not a right or wrong. I told you guys the average yesterday, but this question is for you guys. How much monthly savings would you like to have in the bank before you take the leap? You get to choose. So if you feel so inclined, again, this is a safe space, just us coaches, drop into the chat. How much monthly savings would you like to have in the bank before you take the leap? You tell me. You've all 6 to 9 months. There you go. Christy, 6 to 12. There you go. We talked about yesterday, the average was 3 to 6 months, but I put it to you. You guys, you tell me. Leah, I'd love to have 6 months, but since I was let go, I'm running with it. Yeah. Listen, like I said, Leah, I feel you. I was there, been there, done that. And, feel free to reach out to me, Leah, too. But a bridge job, I took a bridge job, and that was one of the things that took me from feeling a little bit of angst to, I can breathe a little bit. Cicely, in the spirit of mitigating risk, I've always been curious of how does one know if they're a person who is better built for entrepreneurship, or who is better built for as an employee? Ooh, Cicely, that's a good question. Tabitha, will you please add that question to my Saturday Q&A? I feel like I could do a whole segment on that. Cicely, thank you for asking that question. Firestarter. Well, first and foremost, the name Firestarter has me kind of feeling like you're of the entrepreneurship vibe. But let me cover that. Saturday, I'm doing a Q&A. I feel like I could spend some time there. I will spend some time there. Love it. Maureen, I'm already now in it, building it as I'm flying it. And most of us will build it as we're flying it. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome, Cicely. In the spirit of mitigating risk. Oh yeah. Okay. The chat is going so fast on me. I'm like trying to keep up. Okay. Yeah, we'll cover that on Saturday's Q&A, because otherwise I might cover that for the rest of tonight's session. You guys will be here. That's a really good topic. Maybe I could find like a little quiz, have you guys take a little quiz or something. We'll do that on Saturday. Ashley, I saved a year of expenses, which worked out because I got laid off. Yeah, good on you. Right? I don't want anybody feeling stressed, right? So we want to mitigate the risk and not feel panic. So bottom line, everybody should write in their workbook, page 5, you guys get to choose. How much monthly savings would you like to have in the bank? You get to choose, okay? At the bottom of page 5, you're going to see a section that says, validate your coaching business is profitable. So here's where I asked you guys a question, and here it is, bottom of page 5. Do you want consecutive months of revenue from your coaching business? We talked about this yesterday. A way of mitigating risk. It's not just, I have to have savings. Another way of mitigating risk is validating that you have a profitable business by doing what? By having consecutive months of revenue from that business. So my question to you at the bottom of page 5 is, do you want consecutive months of revenue from your coaching business that will, option 1, pay off your monthly bills, right? Your minimum bills, or 2, equal your current corporate monthly income? And by the way, sometimes people do this in phases. I told you guys the story the other day. I had a client who made $250K in her corporate job. She said, first, let me just make the minimum amount I need to pay my bills. And after she hit that consecutively, she said, okay, now I'm going to go for the corporate income monthly. So I want you guys to answer the bottom of page 5. How many months of consecutive revenue in this amount do you want to see from your coaching business before you take the leap? So there's 2 questions, and feel free to answer this in the chat if you're up for it. So question number 1, when it comes to validating your coaching business, where are you going first? Are you wanting to see option one? I want to see consecutive months of coaching business income that can pay off my minimum bills? Or are you saying, no, I'm going to go straight to option two. I want it to equate to my current corporate monthly income. And I'm not going to quit my corporate job until my coaching business is paying how much my corporate job is paying. It's up to you guys. So either mix. Jennifer, option two, Ashley, option one. And it depends how bad you want to get out too, right? I think I started with option one, but you know, over time, you start to make more and more. Lacey, yep. Equate your current corporate income. Cicely, option two. Tanya, option two, and then some. Yes, girl. That's what I like to hear. Christy, the first milestone is to, you guys are moving fast in the chat, to meet my ultimate goal to fully replace corporate income. Great. Jennifer, my partner and I figured out if I quit, we could cover option one on just her income as needed. Oh, that's amazing. Great to have a supportive partner. All right, guys, wonderful. So now I want you to answer the following question. It's the last question on page 5. How many months of consecutive revenue in this amount that you just chose do you want to see from your coaching business before you take the leap? So what's it going to take for you to be like, I got something here? Okay, I'm giving notice. I got something here. This is on you. We got 3 months. I want to see 6 months, Christy. Yep. 4 to 6, 3 to 6. By the way, I think it's good for you to see what your fellow coaches are saying too. You can kind of get an average here. Yeah, we see 3 to 6 months. Great. So write this down. Write it down, bottom of page 5 in your workbook. You see now as we start to crystallize our goals, what are the milestones that you want to hit where you can pull the lever and say, okay, that's it. I'm ready to jump. And you see also why you're going to want to partner with a business coach early on so you can hit these milestones. Let's turn to page 6. Thanks for sharing here with your fellow coaches. Page 6. The question on page 6 says, what is the preferred coaching business model to replace your 6-figure coaching income? And I mentioned this yesterday, but I really want to drive home the easiest way to do this. Drop it into the chat. Let's see who remembers. What is the preferred coaching business model to replace your 6-figure corporate income? Yeah, you guys got it. Yeah, it's all of these things. Yuval, you're right. It's the 5 C's, but it's one-on-one coaching and it's high ticket. And look at Deborah's got it like word for word. Yes, Deborah. So like I said, one-on-one coaching, right, is the highest amount that you can charge. People are paying for access to you. And we're not going to just stick on a high price tag like, woo, I'm sticking on a high price tag. Look at me. What Deborah said, the value of what is included in your package needs to be double the actual price ticket. So that from a client standpoint, they're like, it's an investment, but I can see the value. It's a no-brainer. So I'm just driving this into your heads because as you guys are like, wow, I'm going to need to make 3 months or 4 months or 6 months of income to validate, right? That I have a coaching business that's validated. It is so much easier. It is so much easier when you're selling, when you can sell, and this is my goal for all of you, and this is how I work with my clients. Based on your goal of how much you want to make per month in year 1, we want to have a high ticket one-on-one package at that amount. So you could sell 1 and hit your goal. You can sell 1 and hit your goal. And then you have a downsell that's about half of that amount. Everybody here should be creating packages that they can sell 1 to 2 per month and hit their goal. Lacey, how can you identify or feel confident with the ticket price of value? That is such a good question. And I'll tell you high level, but also Tabitha, can you add Lacey's question to Saturday's Q&A as well? So this is part of what I help clients do in module 2, Lacey. This is part of part of my expertise. So there's 4 different ways to add value. And I swear to God, I won't go too far down this rabbit hole. As Tabitha's probably like, Betty, you're going to go into 2 hours. There's 4 different ways to add value to your deliverables. It's access, which means access to you. How much access do they have to you? That's on the coaching call and in between coaching calls. Access to you. The second one that's often overlooked, especially with one-on-one, is community. You can build community even with one-on-one clients. Community. The next one is information, meaning how are you going to get your clients their information? Are you going to put it in a portal? Are you going to have an on-demand learning center? Is it going to be by email? How will you deliver the information that they need in between sessions? And last but not least is tools and resources. This might be assessments, right? In my case, as a business coach, again, I swear I won't take too long, but it's a good question. This is the last thing I'll share real quick. Thank you for putting that into the chat, Tabitha. Let me just share my screen real quick here. Share. Okay. This is my website, obviously. So again, right, here's an example of some deliverables that add value to my coaching package. An on-demand learning center, your very own website build. We give anything that's a template, right? If this is something you'd go off and build yourself, we build it. We give you the lead magnet template, email nurture sequence scripts. We hired a social media graphic designer who created a library of templates for coaches, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So my point is, and this is for any niche. I've worked with relationship coaches, health coaches, spiritual coaches, career coaches, leadership coaches, right? So tools and resources is assessment scripts, tools, the stuff that is going to help you as you coach your client through your signature method. So it's a whole module in my program, but this is part of what I teach. And then we do some research on each of the deliverables and the approximate value of each of the deliverables that you're going to be providing your client. And then we add up all those deliverables and say, okay, look, the value of this package is approximately this, but you're going to price it at about half of that. So I know I went too far down the rabbit hole there, but no, Lacey, I'm happy to answer this stuff. And I'll get in more into that, Lacey, on Saturday's Q&A. But yeah, I know it can feel kind of just high level, like, how do I know if it's high value enough to be high? Yeah, you never want to just, let me just slap a ticket, right? We need to be able to show our clients. But of course, the most valuable thing of all is going to be you, right? That's what clients want, is access to you. So we bake that into the value. Such good questions from you guys. All right, let me get back to, where was I? All right. So you guys write that down if you haven't already. What is the preferred coaching business model? Because the point is, when you guys are telling me, I want to have 3 to 6 months of verified income, if you're going to be selling a 2K digital course or a 3K package, it's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get there. Let's go for quality over quantity. Right? It's not just high ticket, it's high value, right? Very good question, Lacey. All right, let's turn to page 6. We're already there, top of page 6. So we just answered top of page 6, right? Write that onto the top of page 6, one-on-one high ticket coaching package. And now let's look at this. Which is more important to you? So this question goes to you. Which is more important to you before taking the leap? Drop it into the chat. A, having a certain amount in savings, or B, consecutive months of revenue from your coaching business before you take the leap. And not to say you can't have a mix of both, you can. But this is just getting in your brain What's more important to you? Because you might see one of these before you see the other. If you're like, yeah, I'm going to save up, but I'm also going to try to get this. You kind of want to know, if you hit the target on one of these, are you going to pull the lever, or does it have to be both? Great. So most people going with B. Yuval, depends on the particular situation. Great. So put that down into your workbook. So we're building a plan here. I want you guys to see the milestones. Amy, it was A for you. Yeah. I want you guys to see the milestones that as you hit them, you're like, okay, this might be it. This might be when I pull the lever. And Maureen's already in the leap. She's mid-leap. Love it, Maureen. Okay, next we're going to get into the, okay. Now is where I'm going to ask you to bring in your focus. We're going to talk about business startup cost planning. This is when we get into the nitty-gritty details, okay? And I'm covering this. I'm not going too far down the rabbit hole, because I could go really far down the rabbit hole with this topic. But I'm gonna walk you guys through this. If you have a question on anything I'm covering, including business startup cost planning, drop it into the chat. And if it's something that's kind of a bigger question for me to answer, Tabitha is going to add it to our Saturday Q&A. So let's talk about business startup cost planning. And, you know, this is all about planning and projecting so you're not caught off guard as you're building your dream coaching business. There are so many different tools out there when it comes to building a coaching business. It can be very overwhelming trying to decide which expenses are really necessary in the beginning and which are not. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that for those in the back. There are so many different tools to start up your business. That is why it can be very overwhelming trying to decide which expenses are really necessary in the beginning and which are not. This is also why it's tough to give you, although I am going to give you a number. It's tough to give you one solid number to look you guys in the face and say, this is the number you have to have saved up for business expenses. I will give you a range, a couple ranges based on, you know, research, experience, etc. But it's hard because you should know that your startup cost is going to be different depending on a couple different things. One, how much you will have to invest, and how much you want to invest. There are different options for business startup tools. And you can almost think of it like, and it doesn't matter what the business startup tool is, right? Like, it's a calendar tool, it's a CRM tool, it's a website, whatever the tool is. Almost every business startup tool has a bronze budget plan. And a lot of them, by the way, which is kind of cool, will start you off for free, right? They'll start you off for free because they're hoping that you'll like it enough to upgrade. So you can think of it as most business tools will have like a bronze plan or free, a silver plan, and then the gold plan. So that's why it's hard when people say, what is the startup cost for a coaching business? It can be across the board. It can be across the board. I want you guys to write this down in your business startup cost planning on page 6. There are 6 buckets that you may spend in. Now, this might happen over time. I certainly didn't spend in all these buckets in the beginning at once. So it'll happen over time, but let's just write down the 6 buckets. The first bucket is training, education, and coach certification, right? Most of us know this, right? If you get certified as a coach, it costs money. But even think about this, getting certified as a coach, right? Even that has like a bronze, silver, and gold. We've all seen online, like, get certified as a coach, and it's like a bronze level price. And then we've all seen the certifications that are at like a gold, right? So again, business startup cost depends what what you want to get out of each of these buckets. So you need to research, if you haven't been certified yet, coach certification. Where do you want to get certified? And how much is that certification? Bucket number two, write this down. Business coaching and expert mentorship, right? This is part of the cost of doing business. I certainly didn't start my business without an expert. That would be wild. Not having someone who's done the thing, next to me, helping me out. Janet, good question. Anyone able to get corporate funding to get the training as part of the work being done and then take the leap? Yeah, that's a good question, Janet. And I know I've heard of coaches getting corporate funding before, especially when it comes to getting certified. I have definitely heard of coaches that, go to their boss and as a proposal, hey, will the company pay for this certification? As long as you can explain to the company, the with them, what's in it for them, so getting funding, it depends what part of this you're getting funded on. But yeah, you guys can go back and forth here because that's a great question. So business coaching and expert mentorship. Number three, and I'll go into these more in depth in a second. Let me just share with you the 6 buckets. Number 3 is software and technology. Number 3 is software and technology. Number 4 is legal. Number 4 is legal. Now, did I do a lot of spending on legal in my early years? I did not. In my later years, yeah, right? So from a timing perspective, you're going to need a contract, but we'll talk about, there are ways to get a contract, template, etc., right? You don't have to necessarily hire a expensive lawyer in the early years, but that is a bucket you need to think about. Legal. Number 5, accounting / bookkeepers / software. Number 5, accounting, bookkeepers, and software. Lorena says, I got a minority grants. Oh, that's great. And got my accreditation as an AFC. That's great. Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. Just got to research. One of the reasons I'm very successful is I am a researcher. That's one of my skills. If I don't have the answer, I dig. Like a little gopher, I dig until I find it. I love that, Lorena. The last bucket 6, write this down, is hiring, outsourcing, and scaling. Hiring, outsourcing, and scaling. And, things like scaling, that's not going to happen till down the road, right? Your first hire, probably going to be potentially someone to help you with your website. Although if you're in the academy, you don't need to do that. We include the website as a part of the academy. And then after that, it's usually a virtual assistant. So you guys don't have to worry, I got to hire a big team. No. But there are certain things that if you're not an expert at them, yeah, you might want to outsource. So let's walk through these 6 buckets a little bit more. Bucket number 1, getting certified as a coach. Now, in this day and age that we're in right now, do you have to be certified in order to coach? Technically, no. But most likely at some point, you will be certified as a coach so you can learn coaching skills. Do clients ask if you have a certification? Well, they do usually if you're a corporate coach or an executive coach. For other niches, not necessarily. Are they going to ask you? So it's more about you wanting to get the skills so that you're confident in your coaching. I would recommend, now there's another kind of training, which is what I would call advanced certifications, right? advanced. It's not just like, oh, I was certified as a coach. It's an advanced certification. So for example, as I started off, I told you guys, as a career coach. After I had my business up and running and I was having the income coming in, etc., later I decided I'm going to take some more courses related to my niche, related to career coaching. But that came after bucket 2, which I'm going to get into in a second. So I would recommend waiting on getting the advanced certifications until you have your business up and running and you have a budget for it. I think a lot of times this can potentially be a form of procrastination when we feel like, oh, I just got to get all these certifications. Just get the coach certification. The advanced stuff can come down the road, right? Bucket number 2. So talking about hiring someone, an expert, to walk you through how to stand up your business, who's already been there and done that. A business coach, a consultant. I call myself a coach-sultant, right? I'm certified as a coach, but as in the business world, I do a lot of consulting, right? I'm sharing with you guys what works. What is the purpose of this? It's an expert who's going to be your soundboard. They will give you customized feedback when you are stuck. They will keep you accountable. You'll get to skip over the expensive mistakes that they already made ahead of you, right? That's what I always tell my clients. I make the mistakes so you guys don't have to. The hottest commodity as an entrepreneur that you stand to gain or lose is time. Time is money. A business coach is meant to save you time, to give you shortcuts how to stand up your business or get clients. Pre-made templates. I told you guys before, do not be building things from scratch that are already built out there, right? You should have an expert sharing templates with you. Again, when it comes to hiring a business coach, an expert, just like everything else with business startup, there's no one number here for hiring an expert. This is the number. But know that you will get what you pay for. And I've tried it all, honestly. That's why I say, learn from my mistakes. I spent more money trying different things than had I just done the right thing right away. A 2K digital course will not be the support you need to build a long-term sustainable business. Okay. And I've done it. I've taken the 2K, the 3K courses. But every time I invested more in a coach, right? Coaches need coaches. My business exponentially grew by leaps and bounds. If I can think back with my journey, I paid my first coach. I joined a group coaching program. I paid a little bit over 20K for that first coach. My second business coach, again, a group program, paid around 60K. I'm just telling you my journey. Now, because I invested, I saw 100,000 my first full year as a coach. I saw, eventually 100K for my first quarter, and, now 100K months. So there's not a magic number. This is the number to invest in the expert. But, you need to do the research, and you're going to want a human at some point, not just a digital course. Yeah. Cicely says, invest more in coaches for sure. I wish I would have learned sooner. Yeah. I mean, and all of us, you see it of the flashy digital course, and we love to learn. We're coaches. We love to learn. Tanya, you're so welcome. We love to learn. So it's hard, shiny object. We're like, ooh, let me invest in that. Let me just invest in one expert that can hold your hand through the process. Let's talk about buckets 3 through 6, because this is where things get tangible. Okay. Starting a life coaching business on a budget. Can you do it? You can do it. You can start a life coaching business on a budget. Well, everyone's going to have a budget. It just depends what your budget is. Again, this is one of the best businesses to start because most of us are running the business from home. Side note, before I go any further, just need to remind you guys of this. Talk to your tax accountants ASAP. Talk to your tax accountants ASAP. A lot of what I'm talking about, business startup cost, are tax. They're going to count for expenses for your taxes. I saved so much money going to my tax accountant with a list of all the things that I spent on my business. I saved so much money, including my business coach cost. I said, this is how much I spent on my business coach. And that helped me save a ton of money in taxes. So it depends where you live. It depends, the country, the state, etc. I'm not a CPA. I can't sit here and tell you tax laws, but I'm just telling you guys, most of what I'm talking about today, these are things you can save money on for your taxes. These business startup costs, including hiring a business coach. It is awesome. So talk to your tax accountants. I am certainly glad I went in with a long list and said, here, and I saved so much money. Back to starting a life coaching business on a budget. So we're working from home, which, by the way, I mean, I can't even get into all the details you can save working from home. We're working from home. By the way, sorry, there's just so many good things. If you're in the States, the United States, write this down in your workbook. It's called the Augusta rule /law. I'm putting it in the chat. Look it up. It's another way working from home to save a ton of money on your taxes in your coaching business working from home. I learned this from my CPA. I had never heard of anything like it before. It saves me thousands and thousands and thousands. Right there, if you use that, like you'll come back and thank me at some point. But I won't get into it today. Just talk to your tax accountant about it. Okay. So if you already own a computer, if you have internet access, you kind of have, right, like the basics. Now, average startup cost, average range from 5K to 15K. 5K to 15K average, which may include one-time cost, such as initial training and certifications. So that now, by the way, I've had my own experience. My clients have had their own experience, and I see different things online. It depends whether you're doing bronze, silver, or gold. Here's an article. I'm going to share it with you guys on my screen, and then I will, I'll post it after our class. I'll post it in the Facebook group. This article, it says, how much does it cost to start a life coaching business in 2023? I mean, this is wild, right? It's like, it's so hard to know. You've got this saying the minimum is $62. The maximum is $38. And so then they say the average is $22. That's a new article that I found. You see how it's hard to put a number? Because it depends. Are you going for bronze, silver, and gold? And some of the things you don't want to skimp on. You're going to want to go for gold. Some of the things you're going to want to go bronze, get the free version. And if you don't know which ones those are, ask me. Okay, but this is a great article here, and I will share it with you guys in the Facebook group. They talk about set up your business, LLC and corp. It is required. Minimum is 50, maximum is 500. I think, part of this depends on where you live, etc. Small business insurance, recommended. 500 to 2,000. Trademarking. By the way, I wouldn't worry about trademarking until you are so sure and committed to the name of your business and the name of your coaching package. If you're not committed to it, talk to a lawyer, but you may want to wait on getting that right away, right? So again, 0 to 700. So, there's that. Software expenses. So again, this is where it can be, there's not a simple answer. File hosting service, right? Like, where do you keep your documents? Google Drive, Dropbox. That's why they say it could be 0, or it could be, it absolutely should not be this, So I would just say file hosting, I would go with the cheaper version. Email marketing tool, you should be able to get that free in the early stages, free. Accounting and invoicing software, again, it depends. I would talk to your CPA, your tax accountant, and ask how do they want you to provide them the information. I think I'm using QuickBooks right now. CRM software. I'm using a program called Dubsado, which is free for the first 3 clients. So that was kind of nice, because then once I got 3 clients, I was like, all right, I'll pay you a little bit of money. So CRM, I would not spend a ton of money on a CRM in the beginning. I wouldn't do it like a HubSpot, very expensive. Don't do that in the early stages. Project management software, internal communication tool. You'll all need an email, a work email. IT support. I don't use any IT support. I press buttons until I figure it out. So don't pay $2,000 for that. Design programs and software. I use Canva. What is Canva? Anybody know how much Canva is per month? What is it? 20? Something like that. I do recommend Canva at some point. You're going to want Canva. Social media management tools. I do think you should either automate or outsource your social media posting. But I will tell you, from what I know right now, Facebook Business, LinkedIn, and LinkedIn Business all have scheduling tools attached. The only one that doesn't is your Facebook personal profile. So for me, I'm using a VA to post for me, but for some of you, you can just use the automation tools. You don't have to worry about a payroll software unless you're hiring people. Don't worry about that at first. You're not going to have to worry about rent. You're wherever you live, right? You're working. Wi-Fi and internet you're already using. By the way, talk to your accountant about this. You can deduct your internet. You can deduct part of your office. You can deduct these things from your taxes. And you don't have to worry about, unless you're hiring a freelancer to design something for you. Website costs, you will need a domain name. You're not going to spend $200 on that. That's going to be a minimum fee. You will need website hosting. That is required. You will not spend $300. I don't know where they get some of these max cost, honestly, but these things are kind of minimum here. Business email hosting service. You will need, again, a business email. I used GoDaddy for that. You don't need a live chat tool, but you will need a website, right? And again, it's wild, right? 200 to 6,000. That's why we just include it in our academy. So you don't have to go out and buy it separate. So anyways, I wanted to give you guys just kind of an overview. I will drop the link to that article in the Facebook group. Yeah, I love Canva. Oh, thanks, Adita. $12.99 monthly. Yeah, that's not bad. So don't get Canva in the very beginning when you're just building your business. You don't need to worry about Canva until you start posting on social media. So don't get it in the early stages. But yeah, once you start posting on social media, absolutely. Christy, there's plenty of free CRMs to get started. Absolutely. The CRMs want to give you the free in the beginning. They want you to fall in love. So you say, okay, now I have my data here. I want to work with you. So that's good. That's a good thing. We want the freebies. Give us the freebies. Yeah, great add-ons in the comments there. So again, business startup cost. It's not, I wish I had just like, it's this, but here's my recommendation. Everybody should create a Google spreadsheet. And in that spreadsheet, list out, and I'm going to post this article in the Facebook group. Actually, you know what else? I will create the Google spreadsheet. How about that? I'm writing it down. I'm giving myself homework. Google spreadsheet. I'm going to create a Google spreadsheet template for you guys. And I'm going to list in there some of the essentials that you will want to have as business startup cost. And then I'm going to do that work. And then I want you guys to get out there and to start researching, you know, what CRM are you thinking of using? And I'll even list in there some potential tools that you can use and some of the tools I've used. Brandon, what do you do in Canva that makes it important later on? Well, it's a graphic design tool, Brandon. It's a graphic design tool. So when you're posting on social media and you see people use these nice graphics, it's usually something they created in Canva. Even in my own program in the academy, I hired a social media graphic designer, and I told her I need a library of graphics for coaches to post on social media. She created them in Canva so my coaches can edit them. So I say later on, because before you worry about social media, you got to choose your niche. You got to validate the market's profitable. You got to build your coaching package. You got to launch your business, right? So that's why I say you don't necessarily need it right away. Although you might also use Canva for a lead magnet. And a lead magnet, without me going too far down the rabbit hole, is something you will all eventually need. And that's something you give your audience for free in exchange for an email. So Brandon, maybe you would create a guide, a free guide for your audience. You could create that in Canva. It makes it look pretty, is really what it does. Okay, let's finish up here a little bit more. Let's go to page 7. Go to page 7 here. All right. How much of your coaching business should be up and running before you take the leap? So here's what I would say. Logistically, let's talk about logistics. Logistics. So write this down in your, write this down in your workbook. Logistics. You want an EIN number, and that's a number that gets assigned to your business. So you need an EIN number, write that down. You need to decide, are you going to be early on a sole proprietor or an LLC? Again, this is where typically you'd talk to a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I was a sole proprietor for a while, but you know, if I could go back in time, I probably would have told myself, just go for the LLC. It's going to protect more of your business. By the way, I'm going to list this out for you guys, and then I'm going to get into each topic. Okay. So logistics, EIN, LLC, all these acronyms, right? Business checking. The second you start spending money on your business, go get a business checking, separate it from your personal checking. This is a mistake I made that I wish I would have not done. Get your business checking separated from personal checking. This isn't like you have to do this, but I would get a business credit card. Why not? Get a business credit card, get some points, get some cash back. You're going to need a contract. You're going to need a contract. And Tabitha and Heather, this is all, I think, in the answer key. Okay, great. Thank you. You're going to need a contract for your clients. And then optional is business insurance, meaning not everybody does it, but you probably do it. So let me talk through each of these. EIN. EIN. An EIN is an employer identification number. So after registering your coaching business, you're going to need to visit the IRS website to obtain an employer identification number. The main purpose of an EIN is to pay taxes. Now again, I'm speaking to the states, so my apologies for people all over the globe. Some of these are states related here. The main purpose of an EIN is to pay taxes, but you'll also need it to open bank accounts for your life coaching company. So oftentimes when you go to open a bank account, they'll ask for your EIN. It will also help you hire employees. So it's one of the first things you want to get. Next is LLC deciding, do you want to be an LLC or a sole proprietor? In the beginning, again, I will drop this link in the Facebook group for you guys afterwards. And it kind of breaks down business types 101, LLC. So it says from $0 plus state filing fees. You're not going to probably need an S Corp, a C Corp, nonprofit. So sole proprietorship is kind of the, like, you know, no paperwork to start. You're almost automatically a sole proprietor, you know, when you start. When you become an LLC, you're protecting, you know, when they talk about protections and taxation, you're not personally on the hook for business liabilities. Okay, so I would go with the LLC. Okay, let me just scroll down here. John, do we need different EINs for our different businesses? I have one for my consulting practice. Well, I should probably say that's a question you would want to ask someone from your legal bucket. You know, if you get like LegalZoom, you know, I have to say that my hunch is probably, right? If it's a different business, you need, unless you're combined, unless it's, you know, you're a coach-sultant, I would say probably, but I would, you know, either if you have LegalZoom, ask LegalZoom, or if you have a lawyer, that would be a question I would ask. But my hunch tells me probably. Let's go back here. Contract. So I want to give you guys a little gift here. Some of you might want to use this for your contract. Now, again, depends where you live, right? So read through the contract. I believe this is probably for the states. But again, I'll post this in the Facebook group for you guys afterwards. And I'll tell you where this is, in the ICF website. If you're familiar with the ICF website, the ICF gives you guys a sample coaching agreement. They give it to you for free. So I'm going to post all this in the Facebook group afterwards, but they give it to you for free. Look, but you need to go through it, right? Now, of course, they're going to tell you in red, disclaimer, you know, it's a guide, blah, 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 right? So you still probably want to have a lawyer look it through. Again, something like LegalZoom is quite cheap per month. And there are also many you can buy. I'm going to drop in, I'll probably drop for you guys a Google Doc with just a ton of resources from this call, day 2. There are lawyers out there for coaches that sell contract templates. Okay, so either for free, you could use the ICF template, or you could purchase a coaching template from a lawyer for coaches. Professional liability insurance. Again, I will share this with you guys. Professional liability insurance. So this is a good article here. For those of you that haven't heard of Hiscox, Hiscox is, and if anybody wants to drop in the chat, if you're using a professional liability insurance that you'd like to recommend to the other coaches, drop it in the chat. So it talks about who needs life coaches insurance. They're saying life, career, executive who work with clients to assist them in changing habits, blah, 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 should have professional and general liability insurance, right? So they're really saying most people, I mean, of course, that's the company, but they're really saying most coaches should get some form of liability insurance. And again, liability insurance, it's another way of protecting yourself, just like the LLC says problems can happen when working with clients. Obtaining insurance is a great way to protect yourself while continuing to provide beneficial life coaching service to your clients. Have I my whole life had that? No. But is it smart to have it? Yeah, probably. Again, I'll drop that link into the chat as well, or into your Google Doc. That's what I'm going to do, is share a Google Doc in the Facebook group. And if you don't see it, give me till tomorrow. You know, I'm going to pull everything together tonight. And if you don't see it, reach out to your, I'm also going to give it to Tabitha. It's like when you combine names of Hollywood people, Tabitha, Heather and Tabitha. I'm going to give them the Google Doc too. So if you don't go to the Facebook group, just reach out to your concierge and they'll give it to you, the Google Doc of resources. The Google Doc of resources. Hiscox professional liability insurance starts at $20 a month. Not bad. Not wild. What else here? Let's pull this up. I'm just going to do a quick run through here, and then I'll include some of this with you guys in your Google Doc. Website hosting. I use SiteGround because it was recommended by my web designer. And by the way, I'm not saying because I used it, you have to use it. I'm just, people ask me who I use, so I just tell you. Bluehost is another good website hosting platform. It's one of the largest hosting companies. And there's a great article here on how to choose a website host, but I wouldn't overthink it. If you are working with a web designer, I would just ask them who they recommend. But like I said, I use SiteGround and they're great. So to me, these are like the top two. Scheduling tool. Coaches need scheduling tools. You don't want to be going back and forth. Do you need this right away? No. You need this when you start working with clients, and you don't want to be like, hey, Monday at 5, hey, Monday at 4, Tuesday at 6. I use Acuity. Calendly is another good one. All of this I'll put in your Google Doc. Not crazy expensive either. CRMs, like I told you guys, I started off using Dubsado. It was free for the first 3 people. But there's a lot of CRMs out there. I would not spend a lot on a CRM in the early stages, and definitely look at the CRMs that offer it for free for you to test in the beginning. What's a CRM? It's a tool that helps businesses better organize and access customer data. So you need a place to funnel and organize your leads. Your leads when people apply for a discovery call, your clients too, not just your leads. It holds all your prospect information and all your client information. It also will help automate stuff for you. With Dubsado, it allowed me to also send contracts, packages. It integrated with my payment system, right? So that was a free trial. Contracts, DocuSign is a good contract. I use Dubsado, but DocuSign is a good one. And when I talk about this is systems, so it's not like you want to send somebody a PDF and say, fax it to me, right? You want to send it to them digitally. So DocuSign is a great digital platform to send. Email marketing. I use MailChimp. Email marketing, when you guys get emails from me and I'm like, hey, day 2, here's the Zoom link. I'm using MailChimp. Okay, MailerLite is a good one. And a lot of these start free. I know MailerLite for sure starts for free. And then as you get more people on your email list, then you would pay. So that's the nice thing as a beginner. A lot of these systems are trying to get you to come to them. So they're like, hey, you can use us for free until you start getting clients, until you start getting people. And then they're like, okay, now we're going to charge you. Payment system. You will need a way to collect money. By the way, you don't have to wait. And we'll talk about this tomorrow. Tomorrow's a very important session, how to get clients while you're still at your corporate job. You do not, nor should you wait to launch your business, your website, in order to get clients. I got clients way before I ever launched my website, okay? I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. So you're going to need a way to collect money. I like Stripe. It integrates well with a lot of software. You can take credit card payments directly over the phone, which is also nice. I don't pay for Stripe, but they collect like a very small percentage of each fee. You can't really get around that. I don't know too many payment systems that are just like, yeah, free. They're all going to take a small percentage. I will tell you, you can negotiate as you use Stripe more and more. Like, I'm going to go back and negotiate with them to get a smaller percentage. So over time, all of these are negotiable. PayPal, of course. We talked about a business checking account. I was already using Bank of America, so I just went in there. Said, hey, I need to open up a business checking. I didn't overthink it. Don't overthink some of this stuff. I'll put this all into your spreadsheet. Business credit card. I mean, you can use whatever business credit card you want. I did do some research here. I went with Chase Inc. Business Preferred because I felt like they offered a lot of flexible rewards, including cash back. That's honestly why I went with them. So I would put my big spend on there, and then I would get cash back. But there's an article that helps you with choosing a business credit card. Expense tracking, I use QuickBooks. Some people just manually track it in a spreadsheet, but I'm using QuickBooks. This headset with microphone, that's so old school. No headset. I don't use a headset with microphone. We'll talk about that in a second. LLC, we talked about. Okay, so again, you just need a way to talk to your clients, right? In the beginning, back in my day, when I started coaching, I was, believe it or not, I'd have my coaching calls over the phone. Now I do everything on Zoom, right? So you're just going to need, I don't know if you don't necessarily need a fancy microphone. I mean, shoot, you could probably just have your earbuds and the microphone right there. You just need a way. It's up to you whether you want to work with clients on phone or Zoom. I prefer Zoom, but you just need a way for your clients to hear you and to keep it private, to have it in your headset. Okay. I know I'm covering a lot of crazy stuff, so I'm going to get ready to wrap it up here. And I'm going to be sending you guys all this in the Facebook group. Let's finish up on our worksheet here on page 7. Your business coach. What should you be working with your business coach on? What should you be working with your business coach on? Because we're getting ready to wrap up, I'm going to drop this into the chat, and then I'm just going to kind of talk through it here. Your business coach should be there to guide you through choosing a niche, but not just choosing a niche. Like, I'm a career coach. You need to validate the market. Oh, there's my balloon. There they are, at least once a session, my balloons. You need to validate the market with your niche, your messaging, your I help who with what, so that statement. That's where every coach I know struggles, because most coaches are not messaging experts. That's what I did in my corporate job. I was corporate communications. You need a business coach to help you with a strong messaging statement that conveys the urgent problem you're helping your niche solve. Okay, so your business coach should be helping you with that. They should be helping you with your offer, your signature methodology, your deliverables, the value, the pricing. Lacey asked about, well, how do I think it was Lacey, somebody asked about, well, how do I have confidence in the value? That's what your business coach is there to help you do. Your business name. Your business coach should be helping you with your business name. Cash injection actions to get clients now. You don't have to wait for the perfect website and the perfect this and the perfect logo and no. Most of you guys already know how to coach, right? So you need to learn what I call cash injection actions to start to get clients now. Don't wait to get clients till things are perfect. Client attraction system. You need to know how to create a system to attract clients and how to effectively run a discovery call. If you do all this work and you get to the discovery call and it just goes down the drain, what did we do it for? What did we do it for? That's what a business coach is there for. We talked yesterday about your business board of directors. We talked about that yesterday, so I'm not going to go through that again. But let's end today's session with notes on giving notice. For those of you who have to give notice at some point, I'm going to end it here. Do's and don'ts, giving notice, do's and don'ts. Okay, so write this down on page 7. Notes on giving notice, it's the final part of the page. Do plan your resignation. Plan it. Find an appropriate way to quit. Quit on your terms. Quit on your own terms so you feel in control and at peace with your decision. Meet with the boss or HR to inform them. Write up a formal letter. So these are all things you want to have in a little folder at home, prepared, right? So you don't psych yourself out. First, you're going to meet with your direct supervisor, and you're going to want to have in your head who needs to know and in what order. Who do I need to tell and what is the order I need to tell them in? Those are your do's. Do decide your transition timeline in advance. So are you going to do 2 weeks? That's usually a gesture of goodwill and respect. If you have been with the company for a while, you might end up giving more time. But if you make the timeline too lengthy, I will caution you that things can get complicated. The longer you stay after giving notice, the more anxious and agitated you may start to feel. So find that happy medium ahead of time. Wrap up key projects, organize details of unfinished projects, communicate everything to the team, right? We're trying to leave on a good note. By the way, you're probably going to get some clients from your job, from your colleagues. You probably will. I did. Right? Sometimes you do also understand, sometimes your organization will let you know the day that you give notice is the last day of the job. Just be prepared. Sometimes that's what they'll be ready for that. Don'ts. Do not share more than you're comfortable sharing. Don't share more than you're comfortable sharing. You can be vague if you want to. Hey, I'm going in a new direction. Or you can tell them, I have a dream, I have a passion. I'm building a coaching business. That's what I did, right? I screamed it from the rooftops. I was like, yes, I'm so passionate about this. Be prepared to answer why. People will ask, but you do not owe them an explanation, right? For me, I was happy to share, and people were happy to kind of cloak me in there. They're like, wow, you're so passionate about that. That's great. I know someone who might need that. I was already networking before I got out the door. Don't burn bridges, right? Even though I know, I want to acknowledge, because I've been there. Some of you may be in toxic situations. So I want to say don't burn bridges, but health comes first. Health comes first before toxic situations. If you can, go out gracefully with no regrets, be flexible, train your successor with a positive attitude. But I'm telling you, you might get clients out of your current job. Many of you will, or ask to come back to coach. Okay. Last but not least, I want you guys, if you feel so inclined, you don't have to share in the chat, but you can. It's a safe space, just us coaches here. Your Freedom Day, bottom of page 7. What's your Freedom Day? Now, by the way, I'm not going to hold you to it. I know some of you have to do math and but if right now, like you kind of had a vague understanding of when you think your Freedom Day is gonna be, could be, write that down on the bottom of page 7 of your workbook. Yes, Lorena, there she is. But if you don't write down your Freedom Day, you might find yourself in that job for the rest of your life. So write it down now. And it's okay to change it. I know you guys are like, Betty, girl, I got to do some budget work. I got to do some math. I got to talk to the hubby. I get it. 224. Yes, Bernadette. Brandon, that's fine. That's great. It's a year out still. Perfect time to start working on your business now, a year out. Yuval, November 20 to 24 to March. Wonderful. Arrange. Love it. So thank you for those of you who shared. Everybody else, write it down now. Bottom of page 7. Okay. Before we hop off, I'm announcing the winner of our drawing for the first giveaway, a $25 Starbucks gift card, so I can keep you up really late for these sessions with me. To be eligible, you have to show up live. You have to participate in the live stream. You have to post your answer to the homework question in the homework thread in the Facebook group. Congratulations to, drum roll, please, Deb Enlow. What's going on, Deb? We're going to be sending you a digital Starbucks gift card. Enjoy a couple cups of Joe on us. Hopefully you like coffee. If not, DM me before I send you this gift card and I'll send you something else. Everybody spend the next day working on the 6 questions from day 1. And I want y'all to start researching business startup cost. Look for that Google Doc to be posted by me in the Facebook group by tomorrow with all of the resources we talked about. And feel free to connect with your concierge if you want them to get you that Google Doc as well. Give me till tomorrow. What else here? Keep the questions coming. Ask questions in the Zoom room. Ask questions in the Facebook group. Tabitha is gathering them up for Saturday's Q&A. So please give us your questions. I don't want you leaving this week with any questions that you still have. Last quickie, tomorrow's session is the most important one because we're talking about how to get clients while still at your corporate job without blowing your cover. Okay. Tomorrow we're talking about 1, how to talk to your employer about coaching, which is going to be optional. 2, the foundational work you need to do to lay the groundwork to attract clients. I'm going to walk you through that. And 6 secrets to getting clients while still at your corporate job without blowing your cover. So please, if you're going to show up for anything tomorrow, because I want you guys to get some clients coming out of this training while still at your corporate job. Remember to message your bootcamp concierge, Tabitha Allman or Heather Copi, if you need a copy of your workbook, if you have any questions, if you want to learn. I have a couple people asking how to learn more about the Corporate to Six-Figure Coach Academy. I will drop that into the chat now. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. You're welcome, Adita. You're welcome, Yuval. You're welcome, Carol. You're welcome. Let's see who we have. Erica and Deb. Some coffee on us. All right, guys, have a great night. Enjoy your dinner. See you this time tomorrow. Same time, same place, same Zoom room. Bye, y'all.